Hello, welcome to episode 2 of the Rallying Cry podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, lads. Are we all right? How are we?
Not too bad. It seems like Liam's already rejected his chance of leading the chat.
Yep, totally.
I know you would. No. So we're back. We've been thrown a skulls. Some did better than others. We will go on to that in a minute or two. So we're back for our second episode. We've been thrown a skulls this weekend. As of recording, it's the Thursday after, so we've had a good few days to mull over and reflect on certain things. But yeah, so should we just get straight into it?
Go for it. Go straight in.
I'm absolutely pulling the agenda up, by the way, because I've already forgot what the worst host ever, right?
Liam.
So yeah, anyway,
hobby, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah. What has
what
everybody
we
been doing? That's the first question. What have we all been doing? Liam, let's go to you first because you're first on the screen.
I guess the tail end of last week was finalising the Husko unit, and then on Friday night I decided the best thing I could do to spend my time before a big 2-day event was build a display board for an army. So I quickly made one of those up on Friday night. Well, say I opened up one I bought about 5 years ago, and quickly slapped some texture paint on it, a wash, dry brush, bit of basic material, and hairdryer to speed up some of that process. And it was all good and ready for Saturday morning.
It looked good.
And
it looked good. What we could see of it.
Yeah. What you could see of it.
Yeah.
By the time the 1,000 models were over the top of it.
Yeah. I think your army might have been slightly too big for that. Not too big, 'cause it fit.
It fitted perfectly.
Yeah. It basically turned into a tray, didn't it? Not a display board.
It did. It turned into a tray. And I didn't think to actually lay it out on the board at any point prior to, is this big enough? And now it's fine. But my army will never go bigger than that, I don't think, for a 2,000 point event.
It fit, and that's what it was for, right?
Yeah.
You can only go smaller by the time you've got a dragon in there or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the point.
Speaking of something bigger in there, since the weekend, I've been working on my Chaos Lord on Manticore.
Yeah, it's lovely as well. I really like what you've done with it. Actually, sent me a couple of
quickly flash it up. It's not quite still there. One of the Age of Sigmar ones.
Yeah,
quick
like
body swap on the top
really
side.
Nice.
And now I have my Chaos champion Freya, or Erica even, is now progressing through the ranks of what she's allowed to ride. Started out on foot. I've got a horse model Manticore, and once she passes her driving test on the Manticore, I can upgrade her to a dragon.
Yeah. Poor Talia, what you done with her? Did you put her on the base like being crushed?
No, she's in the bits box, never to come out.
Fair enough. Yeah, never to come out ever again. Never see the live day. Jack, what have you been doing, mate? Have you just been recovering?
Yeah, not much. I had a last-second panic on Friday night when I realised I was taking the scroll of transmogrification and didn't have a frog, so I had a mad panic rush round. I managed to find a little snake, which I substituted in, so I have to rebase that quickly. But yeah, I tend to bear myself out a bit over hobby weekends, and then it takes me a week or so before I'm sort of ready to get the paint and brush out and explore my boxes and boxes of armies to figure out what I want to work on next. Thankfully, I've got the luxury of having probably half a dozen fully painted armies now, so at least I can sort of, be like, okay, well, my next event, I'll just use something that I don't need to do anything with. It'll give me a bit of headspace.
But you won't. You'll end up
definitely yeah.
That's just a war gamer's prerogative, right? It's just what we do.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the choice if I want to.
Yeah.
And you?
Me. So
the greenskins, right?
Yeah. I mean, the weekend was great anyway. I accidentally got drunk on the Saturday after we went home. We went for a take. So we went back to the hotel, went for a takeaway, and saw I can't remember what the pub was called, but it's like a Wetherspoons. Ended up in there. The boxing was on, and by about 8 pints deep, it was like, it's 1:30. I think we better get back. Stumble back to the hotel. So that was that's what I've been doing hobby wise. No, so yeah, so obviously I've been madly painting for the event. which we know, and finished on the Friday at about 1:30. Finished painting.
Good going.
You
More
mean
to-
Saturday morning,
You mean
right?
Saturday morning? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Saturday morning. You know what I mean? Yeah, the day of the event, I finished. I did finish, but it was my own fault because like when you see things and then you're like, I can't just leave it. I've got to touch it up, or I've got to edge highlight it, or whatever.
Nah, can't relate.
Yeah, well, I'm speaking to Liam here, Jack. Yeah, I was just like that. I could have probably quite easily got it done, but I went to my nan's house as well. But could have quite easily got it done earlier. But yeah, because I know it was there, I needed to do it, so it bugged me. So I just stayed up and did it, and just dealt with the sleep. And then obviously Throne of Skulls, which we'll get into, and then I've been an absolute moron. And well, I actually started buying this. So I bought an Orc and Goblins army, as we've all been. I've been sharing, and I bought some. It started on the Saturday actually when I bought a big spider, at Warhammer World. So yeah, that's what I've been doing up to this point. So
Yeah, one right there.
Yeah, but
There's
it's
two.
great.
There's one behind him as well. There's one there as well.
Yeah, because you can't take them in a nomadic war, can you? Unless it's a mount.
Mm.
So my level 4's going on it just because it's a cool model. So yeah, that's me this week, and then just been building orcs. And then before we actually come online, I was clipping some sprues, and they've just fell all over the floor. The bits out of the thing is, as we heard with the crash before we actually started recording. So it'd be funny if it was on camera, I think, because you'd just be. But yeah, so that's me this week.
So you clip a piece off, glue it, clip another piece off, glue it.
That's not how it works.
I've done that. They're just headless. They're just headless at the minute and shieldless, which is why they're all over the floor now. So I'll sort that out a bit. Yeah, so that's me. Should we have a go through our games, and then we can get to who won what and how did everybody did. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to go game by game, obviously. We're all going to do game 1, all do game 2, and so on. So we're going to start with Liam, because he's that side. He's right there.
He's there.
Start with Liam.
I'm there.
Is he on that side?
He's over that way.
What? So Liam's there.
You're central. I know. You're centre, Liam.
Right, Liam. Over to you, sir.
Right, and this should have worked dead easily, right?
He should do. Technical fault, guys. It'd be me
there
or
we go,
Liam.
got it. Are you going to add us in? Fantastic.
Hey, here we are. It works.
That's the army and the display board that is just about visible under there. Anyway, so first game I was against John and his dwarfs. So taking a bunch of photos about this. As you can see from here, John's army was King and a unit of hammerers, a BFB in there as well, a runesmith, a couple of rune spellbreaking, an engineer, a big block of warriors, an anvil instead of a runesmith, a cannon, organ gun, unit of rangers, and a unit of thunderers.
Yep.
We started the game with a customary challenge where my about 70-point unit champion died before the game started. So really fantastic starting point. And effectively, I rushed at him very quickly with a lot of angry little men. I think the key bits here were that I took quite a lot of casualties on the way in from light on fire. Losing that challenge and having to take the second turn does not help when most of the guns reach you on turn 1. But effectively, I kind of ran at it, made charges at the start of turn 2 into a lot of his army, including the spawn, and the spawn took the charge, I think, and then the marauders and the unit of berserkers came into the flank, and I effectively ground them out over a couple of turns, while a unit of skin wolves kept going on toughness 5, and hopefully you don't wound me, to some dwarfs who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in the back line. And by the end of turn 4 or 5, we were just left with a single unit of dwarfs against a big chunk of my army left. And after an heroic final stand, took them all off, and no more toys for John.
Even
I know, but yeah, a big win to start the event, and really, really enjoyable game.
Good.
So what was your sort of MVP?
In that one, probably the Chaos Spawn, Giant
Chaos
Spawn.
Spawn. I guess my worry about them is you always have to rely on rolling high, right? Or rolling.
You do, but you get 2 chances to roll the dice, don't you?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, hammers are only heavy armor, and you're never going to use a shield. So even your big attacks that are AP -1, like you get a couple of poison if you roll well enough, or you're hitting on 3s, killing on 2s effectively. So you just kind of grind out them over, I say, 2 rounds of combat, give or take.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that he pushed forward on his side of the board that look of it as well with his hammer.
Yeah,
So
push forward a little bit.
Sort of getting another round of shooting in maybe.
I think it was more to kind of create a gap between his front line and the War Machine Hill.
He just didn't run straight through.
Yeah, but apparently you can't cover that much space with dwarfs when there's that many units charging at you.
They've only got little legs.
I know.
And they're very expensive little legs at that.
Yeah, John plays like against one opponent quite a lot. So we had a good chat afterwards about bits and tips for how he can cover more ground easier moving forward.
Okay. So big win again.
Big win, game 1.
Big win. Shall I do me, Jack, or do you want to go next?
You go, you mate. We've got no doubts on what's happening with you.
No, there's plenty of stuff happening with me. Right, I'll just quickly share my screen, and then hopefully we can all see that. Can we all see that? We can all see that. Right, so this is my list. Well, I'm not going through it. It's basically Liam's list light. Quite literally Liam's list light. I went for chariots instead of like this Chaos Spawn and stuff. For the pure fact, I don't own a Chaos Spawn, or the gigantic Chaos Spawn. And then at the last minute, I decided to take out 2 Dragon Ogres and put in 3 Chaos Trolls, just because they're funny. I mean, the theme of the list is, if people have played Warhammer the Old World, it's the Nausicaa type theme with the converted wolves and stuff like that for the chariots. But yeah, that's my list. Lots of bodies, I think. But I think we both agree, Liam, don't we, that the Wolves of the Sea is pretty much bodies anyway, isn't it?
I think if you want to play it along the theme it was intended with, then yes.
Yeah.
You've got the Chaos Lord and a chariot. I have a level 4 wizard.
I mean, to be fair, that Chaos Lord on the chariot is insane. He didn't die once the entire tournament. For the pure fact, people just kept running away from him. But yeah, right. So my first game was against a lovely lad called Michael and Wood Elves. Let me just find the great picture. Sorry, I'm going to scroll through these. There we are. There it is. So this is the end of my turn 2. Turn 1, sorry. So I essentially ran everything forward. We had a challenge, so we did do the challenge. Didn't get the picture of it, unfortunately. But he actually accepted with the champion from the Sister of the Thorn, which I was like, "Are you sure?" It was like, "Yeah, I think she'll be all right." I was like, "Okay." I am strength 5 -2. I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got a 4 at ward." I was like, "Okay, that's cool." So we fought and I killed her.
Was she not striking first? Was she?
Yeah, she didn't do anything.
Just weird.
And then I killed her. So
I guess he's only strength 3 in combat, isn't he? So
yeah,
so
yeah. So he had the 2 attacks, strength 5 -2. Goodbye.
Yeah.
No, I did roll really well. I think I rolled like 2 6s to hit, and then obviously it's 2s to wound her as well. So then he rolled. I think he rolled. Not a 4, yeah. I think he actually rolled 2 3s, and it was just like, oh god. I knew I was going to be in trouble for this game because his entire army shot. Literally everything in the army shot something. So he had a Glade Lord on a dragon, which you can see right at the back there. Lovely model actually, converted from Ionis, and then he had one of the Wild Riders on top with the gubbins and stuff. Do you know what? I'm not even gonna. I don't even know what he had because he actually didn't do anything because I ignored it, and he was that scared to get it anywhere near my army for some reason. So what he essentially did from where he was there, so he's hid behind the hill. Don't know why because I didn't have any shooting. He was hid behind the hill, and then he just ran it to where his box was and just kept it behind those ruins all game. I was like, cool, and he could. I mean, he shot my army off the board anyway, so he didn't need the dragon. That's the thing of this story. So he had level 4. Points. So that again, mate.
So if you can protect that 500 points, you know you've got a good chance of winning,
exactly, right? Yeah. So he had two level 4s. Sorry, level 4 and a level 3. No,
you went
level 4 and level
4s.
2. Yeah, level 2. See the big block of Glade Riders in the top left. Yeah. They were just riding around with them, firing. He got 2 fireballs. It got Pillar of Fire, and then the sisters rolled Fireball as well. They can't pick now, right?
No.
Yeah, and then he also got Curse of Our Attraction on both of his wizards, so that was fun. So essentially everything was the usual stuff. So it was the compulsory Glade Guard, which was the unit there in the middle, which was a unit of 8, I think. 2 units of 10 scouts, Deepwood Scouts, which were deployed either side. A Tree Man, unit Sister of the Thorn, a unit of Glade Riders, a Great Eagle, and the characters. And essentially, I killed the scouts on the right hand side, the Sister of the Thorn, the half of the scout unit, and the Glade Guard, and then everything else just shot me to death. I think I ended up with the Chaos Lord, one of the trolls, and a unit of Marauder Berserkers left. So yeah, obviously this is the start of my first turn. So I mean, the other thing with mine is because I didn't have any magic defense. I just literally went in with the Fated, and the Chaos Lord had the Brazen Collar, so that was just trying to keep him alive. And I just obviously can't stop every spell, so I got pin-cushioned to hell. But it was a good game. I did enjoy it, and I knew anyway. Like just because of the armies, I either had to get him. I needed first turn just to get close to him to try and corner him in that corner, and hopefully none of my stuff died, and it all died. Almost to the man. So yeah, it was a heavy loss, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all my games, to be fair. But it was a big loss because I did just get. I think he ended up with pretty much all of it apart from the scouts and the basically everything else apart from the bits.
So pretty big loss.
Yeah, pretty big loss. But hey, I had fun. I had fun running into arrows. It was like the Last Samurai thing. Yeah, but no, it was good. It was good, but yeah, it was a heavy loss and a good win for Michael. Although he'd not played that many games as well, which was quite nice because it. I mean,
softened
as a TO, you almost like go into TO mode and then start talking to people about stuff. And I didn't talk me out of a win or anything, but you know when I said I was going like, oh, you should probably do this instead of this. At the point it was going to happen, that was going to get shot. And all that, as you do, you help other people along, don't you? So
yeah,
but yeah, it was good fun. That was my game 1. Jack, have you got your thing ready to go, mate?
What's that?
You sure?
Partly sure.
Come on, get it in. There it is. Add stage. Here's Jack's army.
Lovely. So here's my army.
Look at this.
We got through the list last week. So this is my beautiful contrast and lacquered black.
I'm impressed that you've got Be'lakor on a 50.
Yeah, I had to butcher his base a bit to get him onto there, but he fit on in the end. A nice converted up Chaos Giant.
Nice.
And my
big claw.
It is a claw.
Yeah, I really like your army anyway, just because you've done all the bits of conversion and stuff.
Yeah.
So I started off against Mickey, who had brought Bretonians. There was 2 units of 4 Pegasus. Pegasi. The Duke on Pegasus, who was tooled to the 9s. Lise Duchard, a block of peasants up here, some bowmen, and then 2 lancers. I think there's a level 2 in there as well. So immediately from the start, I was concerned, to say the least. So
yeah, we had a good chat, didn't we, before you started playing?
We had a good laugh. So we got to it, and safe to say it didn't go so well. So obviously he had a lot more maneuverability than me, and he had the falcon horn. So my flyers suddenly couldn't fly, and his could. So he'd sort of set up with lance sort of pretty central, one tucked up in this far right, next to these woods. So I pretty much was just like, okay, well, I'll set my army up, try and pin that lance up in there, get some points. So we made a beeline up this way to try and pin in this lance in this top right corner. We went from basically following up and just tried to cover my rear and flanks a bit to stop these Pegasi just running wild. Yeah, it was tough. They just kept flying over me, flying back over me, and just eventually got me pinned in and sort of just picked off one thing after another. The highlight for me was sort of, you can see up here in this woodlands, we have these peasant bowmen and the least shard here. As mentioned before, I had the scroll of transmogrification, and and she failed. She failed her roll when I popped it off. So she turned into a frog. Pretty much just after this, I think. So it was his turn. He pulled these bowmen, in front of her, sort of to try and screen her off in her weakened state. And I had this probably the one good brain play I've ever had, where I then dropped the -2 leadership spell onto the peasant bowmen, declared the charge of my Terra Corsa, which then sent them running off, leaving her exposed. But then I did forget that she was now leadership 1. So when I charged her, she also fled. But thankfully, she sort of landed somewhere around here, and I was managed to
I mean, she's a frog.
Follow up and get her. Yeah, she was a frog. So she fled over this way. Obviously didn't pass her leadership 1 check. But yeah, managed to gobble her up, and that's about as successful as it went for me in this game.
Is that Bellicor running away from peasants?
No. He's just flown. He's just flown over them to sort of give an angle on the least shard. He wouldn't run away. He'd just disintegrate.
Yeah.
Which he very quickly did not so long after this. So you'll see here, I've adopted what is known as line hammer. It doesn't work. Not for Forsaken. Apparently, these Bretonnians beat me over 3 turns of combat. They just beat me every game, every turn, and then eventually I just got the whole force of the army slapped into me. You can see the Duke here manhandling Bellicor, ripped him apart in 1 round of combat. The lance that I went up here to kill just shrugged me off. So I think I finished the game by killing Elise and this unit of peasants and the bowmen, and I think that is pretty much all I got, about 400 or 500 points. It was tough going. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
I didn't get many points, so it's fine. It's fine. You're not the worst of us. And we'll go on to that later when we finish. Liam, your game too, mate.
So grab this back up again.
I like this.
And
show and tell.
It's not too bad. So game 2, and I was up against a Chaos army. This was a bit different in that it was just 3 big blocks of knights, some dragon ogres, a dragon, and a small unit of marauders. So a very melee focused army. Yep. And I think the basic plan for this game was going to be to avoid fighting what I didn't want to fight, which was most of it. So after my turn 1, my army kind of swung around to a flank, just stayed out of charge range of just about everything I could do. And over the next couple of turns, I managed to go straight through with his unit of 3 Dragon Ogres and my Herskulls, which were outstanding most of the weekend. Got into the flank of that unit of Chaos Knights and went through them as well. My giant spawn in the bottom side went around and avoided his dragon and got into the final unit of Chaos Knights off this picture. And by the end of the game, roughly, it was just basically me running away from a dragon that I couldn't kill. But that kind of was a story of a weekend.
Yeah, it was,
but it didn't actually fight a unit of combat. His dragon never fought in anger because I kept fleeing away, and then I did have a couple of units on my level 4 run off a board, but at least I had a chance to rally and not die. And when he gets the choice, doesn't he, the following turn to kind of come back or not come back, basically slowed him down the entire game. So end of game 2, we get a pretty decent sized win.
I'm hoping that's kind of put people off bringing the dragons to Throne of Skulls because everyone just ran away from them.
Yeah. Yeah, so game 2, 1 dragon, and killed everything that wasn't the dragon.
Well, I'll bet you
big
that
win.
then.
Yep.
Go on then. I got.
You killed a dragon. Is that what you're going to say?
No, I got a double dragon in my next game. But no, sorry, Liam. Carry on with you.
No, that was it.
Was that? Sorry. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go on then. I'll share what I got my ass handed to with. So we had just got this photo actually because it was coming to the. There we are. Does everyone see that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right. So we had. So this fella, Adrian, he was called. Hold on. Adrian, he was called. Yeah. It was very much a Warriors of Chaos list. You can't really see the dragon. Oh, there is. So in his list, we had a Lord on Dragon, all the tools and knives with 500 points. Because I think it was bang on 500 points.
So a Mark of Nurgle, a flail, and a shield.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. A unit of so we'll just go down for bottom to top. The Marauder Horseman with flails. Unit of 10 fights. It was like a weird unit because it had a unit filler. I think it was maybe a unit of 15. The Duju Run Jack with a Cold Forsaken. 5 dogs. The Warpfire Dragon, which is the dragon in the middle. 4 Dragon Ogres. Another unit of dogs. And then a big block of Chosen Boys. Sorry, no, I think they were normal knights for his core. Nurgle Knights with these level 4 Nurgle Sorcerer in there as well. So very, very, very elite. Not many models on the board. And I obviously had all my stuff. So essentially, we just ran at each other. That's all we did. Apart from to be fair, he tried to run the big dragon at me. He fell 2 charges. So that dragon didn't actually do anything. It didn't get into combat. I think it maybe killed the unit of dogs. Essentially, what happened was everything charged forward. I charged forward. He charged forward. And then we just had a big melee in the middle. Most of my stuff died horribly to the Warpfire Dragon. In fact, probably the best part about the Warpfire Dragon. So see the Herskulls on the hills there for mine. So I'd vanguarded up. He scattered and blew the dogs up. Full scattered, landed in the middle of them all and killed them all. I was like, great. So that was interesting. And then I think the big one for me was the Skin Wolves actually were probably played the best in this mission. Because I think this was flank attack, wasn't it, as well?
It was flank attack, yeah.
Yeah, so my skin wolves are out on the left-hand side, but they're basically just tucked in back to the side of the deployment of the other skin wolves. They ran forward, killed the dogs. They actually were the only ones, because I didn't issue a challenge here because I was just going to get battered with a Hearst in there. So we went to the roll. He went first. He ran everything up. I charged everything with my skin wolves, killed the dogs, overran into the knights, held them up for like 2 turns just by putting the toughness and armor save on them. And they didn't get the obviously the lance charges or anything, so I was that close. And then basically the dragon ogres and the warpfire dragon. In fact, the warpfire dragon should have died. He made 4 of the regen saves on it, on its last wound.
Oh.
I was like, for God's sake. But then again, I realised I think a lot of my stuff was on like 1 and 2 wounds at the time.
It'd blown them up.
It blows up, doesn't it? Yeah, so I was like, probably a good thing it didn't die. But in the end, I think I had the Chaos Lord left, a chariot left, and some of the Marauder cavalry and stuff which come on, obviously from ambush, because a lot of mine comes on ambush. And he had the big dragon left, the dragon ogres, the sorcerer and 1 knight left, and the warpfire dragon. So most of it, basically, the chaff died. So yeah, it was a rough game for me. This one, because I just couldn't kill any of the stuff. The dragon ogres are tough enough to beat anyway, and I don't quite have the punch power apart from the Chaos Lord and the Hurskals and the charge. So yeah, it was a rough one, but I enjoyed it. It was a good laugh. But yeah, quite a heavy loss actually. I think I maybe only got about 300 points, if that.
Ouch.
Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. It was good. I enjoyed it. Playing Warhammer.
And swiftly moving on.
That was me. I'll get rid of mine. Yes.
So this is where it all goes downhill for me in terms of I just forgot to take many photos from now on.
That's fine.
My homework. I got an F on
You're
my
fine.
homework for this. Yeah. So I played up against Stephen next with his High Elves. And you'll see there he had a Star Dragon. He had level 4, a Noble, a couple of units of Sea Guard, but just sort of like 10s. So yeah, so this was flank attack. So this is sort of his right flank here, and then his right flank he had a unit of Silver Helms sat in front of a set of Dragon Princes, and then he had some Sword Masters, which he was sort of doing ethereal tricks with, and then a unit of 10 Sisters in some woods over on the left. So Stephen got first turn, and no, wait, I got first turn. Basically played really defensive because I was terrified of that dragon that was sort of in the middle of the board at this point. So I just gingerly, this dragon had Impetuous. So I gingerly moved some Marauder Horsemen up to his maximum charge range. And that was basically my first turn. Everything else just creeped up slightly. He then failed his Impetuous test. I fled, which basically meant that his dragon ended up almost in my lines, which meant I just moved the rest of my army past it. In my turn, moved the rest of my army past it, and just killed all the squishy elves behind it. I think my dragon got taken down to 1 wound by the Sea Guard with the Razor banner, so they just, every 6 they got was basically a wound, flinking through his heavy armor. I basically took out the whole army. I managed to pin these knights in his top back right corner with my Forsaken, and just got basically the Dragon Princes were stuck behind them, so I managed to chew through the Silver Helms and then chew through the Princes. I think with the support of that chariot, and then by turn 4, his dragon had turned around and was back into me, where he can just chew through pretty much my whole army, bar I think the giant, and I think I'd hidden Bellicor. No, I think he killed Bellicor. I had my sorcerer lord on chariot and a giant ogre on that left flank, and this stuff on my right flank. By the end of the game, so I managed to win, which I was quite happy with. Just by pure luck of being able to run past this dragon turn 2.
Elf bashing.
Yeah. So I'd like to say that I'd sort of planned the horses there for him to fail as Impetuous, and but yeah, it was luck. And it worked out nicely. So yeah,
that's the thing with Impetuous though, isn't it? It's 50-50 all the time.
Yeah. And so yeah, it worked out well. Yeah, he was a nice lad, and he gave me a win.
Nice. He gave you a win.
Pretty much. That dragon would have ripped through my whole army. So
yeah, this is true. I do like this Star Dragon. I mean, obviously being a high up player myself,
Yeah, they are
I
handy.
like the Star Dragon. Liam,
So
your
Liam,
game
you're on 2 and 2 at this point. Dan's on
Yeah,
0 and 2, and I'm on 1 and 1.
Yeah.
Not to rub it in, Dan.
Yeah, no, we're not spoiled, mate. We'll.
Right, you want to drag me up again then?
Yes, I will. I will add you to the stage. There you go.
Fantastic. I figured out how to get rid of all the little bits now, so
Oh
it
my
looks
God.
a bit good here.
So you one up me again? Is that triple dragon?
Yes, so
Jesus
this
Christ.
was Will and his dragon army. And it was a Chaos Lord with Mark of Khorne on a dragon, Galrock to provide some magical support, a unit of 12, 14 Chaos Knights. Is that 14?
Is that just
It's
his
a lot of
core
them.
in one block?
Yeah, it's 512
brilliant.
points or something in one block of Chaos
Brilliant.
Knights. And they have got, have you ever had Mark of Khorne or Banner of Rage, one or the other?
Oof, that's
Then he had
brave, putting your whole
It is.
core as frenzy, right?
A Warpfire Dragon, which is the orange one on there.
Yeah.
And then in the back corner, you can see a Dragon Ogre Shartak who, what was he doing? Was this
Not a lot by the looks of it.
He was in reserve because this was the
roll along.
stagger.
Oh yeah, I've got a good one for this one.
So I had a couple of characters. I had both my Marauder Tribe Chieftains off the board, along with a unit of dogs and maybe a unit of Marauder Tribe Berserkers. Didn't turn up, and looking at that, a unit of both can water there. So I deployed the unit of Marauder Tribe Chieftains on my left-hand side to basically tie up the dragon for as long as they could, because of its frenzy. And then I set up in such a way where I gave the big frenzy night bus a maximum range charge through difficult terrain into my chaos spawn. So it would have had to have been a 666 to get a big number to get in.
Yeah, a lot.
On all the dice. And they failed just, which meant that in my second turn, I got to charge in into the flank of that unit of knights with my Huskars and my Chaos Spawn. And the end result of that was a lot of dead Chaos Knights. Left 3 of them alive after everything. And I had Word of Pain in, I had Battle Lust on the unit Huskars. So really was literally killing as many as I could.
Yeah, so Dark Magic was really coming into play for you then.
Yeah, it did in that one. Yeah. On the left-hand side, the Chaos Dragon had failed its charge into my Marauder Tribe Berserkers. So I put them further to the left of it, so it was going to charge them in turn 2 and off the board, so it wasn't charging anything in turn 3. And I also deployed an extra couple of units in that corner to basically give me consistently 1 unit for it to kill every turn, and hopefully I can just flee and lead it around so it never really got to fight anything. It took me a couple of turns to run down those last 3 knights, though, unfortunately, because obviously I'd killed so many of them. There's a massive gap between my models that were chasing it and them. And the Warpfire came back into her skulls, killed off 4 or 5 of them, and they ran away and managed to outpace it. And as we got further around into the game, we had a situation where the Warpfire and Galrock eventually got into my unit of Marauders with my general in.
Do you know what? I am impressed that he managed to rank all those knights up, because they're the AOS ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
That's impressive.
And you can see at the top corner of this picture, my last remaining 2 Huskars decided it's a good idea to fight that Shartak, which was a mistake that cost me the game ultimately. I don't know why I thought for 1 second that 2 of them would be enough, but I did. And then even though they had no frenzy, so it was only 5 good attacks plus the horses. I was never going to do it, and that was giving away 200 points, 215 points I didn't need to do.
Throwing a skulls, Liam.
And it was themed. In this combat, I absorbed a charge, fed Garrock the unit champion. The Warp Fire Dragon obviously killed the back rank of those Marauders. And then I got to countercharge. So I've got the unit of Skinwolves in the back of both of them. I've got my Marauder Cavalry in the side. I've got, with my level 4 in, and the second Marauder Chieftain on the horse, all in that combat. And the Marauder Chieftain got fed to Garrock to keep combat resolution down. And at the end of it, I won combat by 3 and killed the Warp Fire.
Nice.
But unfortunately, Garrock just passed his leadership test on the dot, because literally I'm about 6 to 8 inches away from the board edge at this point. So Garrock escaped for combat and didn't get run down. Obviously only gave ground. And then towards the end of the game, the Chaos Lord on Dragon got to fight a unit of dogs, which he was very happy for. So he only killed about 100 points in my army in the game. Mm-hmm. And in the very last turn of combat, we had Garrock fighting a Chaos Spawn, my gigantic Chaos Spawn that had turned around after finishing off the Knights. And I wounded him 3 times at -1. And he was down to 1 wound at this point. And unfortunately, he passed all 3 of his armor saves. And come the end of it, I'd lost by 250 points.
So killing him would have won you the game, basically.
Killing him would have won, but more importantly, not throwing those Hurskills into that short attack would have also meant I didn't lose. And that was the one I could have controlled.
Yeah. Well, Liam.
And
no, like I say, he's throwing the skulls. You do dumb stuff. Yeah. That looked like a good game, though. At least it went down to the wire.
It really was. Will was a really... His list was awful in terms of power level.
Yeah.
But he was a really nice chap and would happily play him again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Really good first day. Finished 2-1.
Nice.
And that was far more than I expected, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So yours was a really close game. Shall I go into mine?
It's yours a really close game.
We'll see. So I played. He was a very lovely chap. A very lovely chap called John. Played dwarves.
You got who I played in game 1.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. He's lovely. It was lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll not go for this. We've kind of gone through it, but yeah, the big block and some other lads. But what I will show you is, so it's meeting engagement. All that started off the board.
Yeah, this is why this mission should not be.
It should never ever be in a rules pack. Yes, I know. I did say this to John, but he was like, and the only thing he had off the board was Thunderers, a unit of Thunderers, which I'll go into because those Thunderers were quite significant at the time.
So how many ones is this? Like 10?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ones, but the others were in ambush.
Okay.
So I'd paid for ambush, so I wasn't not using it.
Yeah.
So 5 ones. So both units of Skinwolves, the BSB, a unit of Hurskills, and the big block of lads, all off the board to start the game. So yeah, that was my start there. Where's my?
So you're feeling confident?
There we go. So that's what I started on the board. Basically, all the fast stuff, bar the trolls. So essentially, what I did issue a challenge here, and he put forward the Hammerer champion, and I killed him again, which was not strange because he did elect to use the shield this time, so he did have a 4-up save. Oh boy, he had a 6-up save, but it was a lot easier to kill, obviously because he wasn't striking first. So I did take him out. Out of that big Hammerer unit with all those dudes in. Put it this way, that was the only model I killed in something that wasn't really in the game. So essentially, I went first, vanguarded everything up, turned the Hurskills on the right hand side. So that's a unit of Rangers up at the top there. So put them literally in front because I wasn't in your charge arc, and he made sure of that as well, which was fine. So we basically went and parked in front of the lads. Thinking like, does he want to shoot me or does he want to fight me? I hope he fights me because I've probably got a better chance because they just had hand weapons, I believe. So I was like, I've got a better chance of them being shot at by crossbows, with them being rangers, obviously 3s to hit and 4s to wound with the minus. The arcane ruins that they're on there obviously are impassable. Essentially, what happened was he blocked where the Sphinx is and the arcane ruin. He blocked that up with the 2 units, and I'd literally no. I either just ran around or I just went and charged and had fun. So I lost. So everything charged up for turn 1. He then started shooting his guns at me and magic. So I lost dogs, a chariot, and half a troll from the organ gun. I lost 3 of the Herskalls and a wound on my Chaos Lord in the first turn of shooting. So it was pretty rough. So I ended up with a slightly wounded Chaos Lord. Oh, he also rolled Stupidity, and I rolled the Stupidity back into a 1 as well. So I got that, yeah, the double 1. So that was interesting. It's not too bad on the Chaos Lord, but I'd have liked a buff. And then I failed the Stupidity on the Trolls as well because I didn't have a BSB to re-roll it on the leadership of the of the general. So yeah, I didn't start on board with much. After John's first turn, I still have much left on the board. Then yeah, so my turn 2 obviously brought in on all the ambushes, and essentially at the bottom of the table, my board edge, everything just moved on as much as it could. I then didn't really see any play, to be quite honest. The Marauder lads didn't do anything. So when my ambushes come on, this is the funny part. So obviously I didn't get any charges off whatsoever. I lost the Herskalls to throwing axes because they're quick to shoot. So he just chopped the last 2 up and they charging the Rangers. I just thought, you know what, let's just go for it. Tried to charge the Anvil of Doom with a chariot, failed that, and then into John's turn, that died from the Anvil of Doom shooting. I had both units of cavalry come on the back board edge. They both died. So I had 1 unit of Marauder Berserkers. The thing is, he kept killing everything to the man, which is fine. You know, it is what it is. So the Organ gun just kept going nuts. And after obviously the Rangers had killed the Herskalls in stand and shoot, they just turned around and shot where John's left armies, there was a unit there that when they come on, they died horribly as well. The Berserkers were just stood there. So he killed the fast stuff, which was probably the right play, to be fair. Turn 3, my turn 3, didn't have much left. The Chaos Lord decided to turn around because I had nothing left on that right flank. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to kill those Rangers. On these, where John's phone is there, that's where the Thunderers come on. I tried to charge them with Trolls, and they got absolutely butchered on Overwatch, on Stand and Shoot. Teaches me, basically. So in the end, and the Skin Wolves just got dealt with by the Warriors with the axes because I couldn't get through their armor. Because I took extra attacks thinking, oh, maybe I'll just chop through them, and then I completely forgot. The walls are toughness 4, aren't they? So 50-50 all the time. Yeah, the both units of Skin Wolves just bounced because I managed to get a front and a flank charge with the Skin Wolves on them. So I ran the Skin Wolves up and round in front of this hill on the left hand side. Yeah, so the Lord just literally went after the Rangers just because I knew they had more points than some of the other stuff. Yeah, so I ended up with a Lord. The unit Marauders, because they just weren't fast enough even with marching and the BSB. So I get my characters and Marauders, but I literally took out Thunderers and the Rangers because I just got shot to hell. They're really good rolls, but can't know about that, can you? So yeah, that was it. I actually really enjoyed playing John. It was lovely. Like Liam can obviously attest for that as well. Game 1. So yeah, I'm doing great on the 3-0 with an L. You didn't take any more pictures now, did you, Jack?
Not for this next game. Not for this next
Right,
game.
well, this is kind of like where I just decided they're going to go back to the hotel. I'm going to have one beer in the hotel, and then it went all downhill and getting drunk. Right, do you just want to talk?
Yeah, I'll talk through. So I came up against Fraser and his Wood Elves, who I'd played a fortnight before at the TSN Arena when I'd sort of taken my practice turning skulls list stupidly to a competitive event. Just got the floor wiped for me. So he had the Glade Lord on Dragon, a level 4 with the Oaken Stave, a level 2, a couple of units of Glade Guard with armor piercing arrows, Dryads, some Glade Riders, 3 Treekin, some Wild Riders with the Vanguard banner, and a Treeman, and every unit had a champion in.
Nice.
So turn 1, I was just like, I didn't really know what to do, so I was like, at this point, I was like, screw it. I'll just deploy right in the front line. My Chimera and a unit of horsemen, I think, were off the board. So I was like, right, I'll put my stuff down on the front line. We'll see what goes on. Fraser got turn 1. I'm off Forsaken, got charged by a dragon and the Wild Riders. So that didn't go well. I think he ground through them over two turns of combat. So the first time they had stubborn, then they fell back a bit, but didn't quite reach the table edge. And the next turn they were either off the table or just got eaten to the man. But it gave me a little bit of time to basically like throw everything else up around towards the back lines where his archers and stuff are. I think I managed to get into, I think I got a unit of archers. The Demon Prince went into the Treekin, and so the Demon Prince sort of took a big wide round the right flank, got a unit of archers, scared off the Wild Riders across the board because they didn't want any part of that, and then he hit the Treekin, and I was like, okay, this is good. I tried to use my frog scroll again on his level 2, and he rolled a 1, so that was disappointing. But yeah, the Demon Prince got into the Treekin. I was like, okay, so first round of combat, killed 1, cool, won the combat. He just sort of, I think he felt like a good order and jumped over something. Maybe some more Glade Guard and his level 2. So I think I got his level 2 at that point. Got the Glade Guard, went back into the Treekin. At this point, his dragon's coming back towards me after cheering through my Forsaken. So I got back into the Treekin, killed another one. Combat broke again, going into pretty much my last turn. I had his dragon sort of next to me on one side, and this Treekin on one other side, and then I was well lost. Like the rest of my army was dead pretty much. And I was like, I was like, I could go into the dragon, but there's just literally no chance of doing anything. So I might as well go into the Treekin and just get a couple of points at least, so I'm not super embarrassed.
Yeah.
So
you're not doing
through Demon Prince in, I think I was up like 7 attacks at that point. I was like, okay, right, let's go. 6 1s and a 2 or something like that. I was like, oh dear. The Treekin goes, Treekin champion space, like, take an initiative test. I'm gonna tree whack you.
Yeah.
Cool. Initiative 8. Roll the 6. Oh no.
No.
And then he's like, okay, this is D3 wounds. 3. Oh no. And just died. I just died. I was like, oh okay, cool. So that was like 500-600 points just disappeared straight then. And so it went from like what was pretty much close to like, I think I was like 100 points off a draw to then suddenly just being like completely nowhere near it. So I think if I got those Treekin, it would have been very close to a draw. I don't think I quite got it, but it would have been close. But then suddenly I just hammered. Like I had nothing, and I was just like, oh cool, okay, so that's 3 games, and Bellicor, the Demon Prince has died in all 3 in the first pretty much the
Yeah.
first 2 games, first round of combat he died in. This one he died to a Treekin.
It does sound like a giant liability.
Yeah, I did remember after
regret.
the event that I completely forgot about his Mark and Nurgle for the whole weekend, so that might have made a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
But most of the time it was just Crumble that was killing me, so wouldn't have made too much.
Oh, yeah, because they've got demonic instability, haven't they? Which is obviously different.
It's
You lose wounds by different
combat res,
leadership.
just whatever combat res you lose wounds.
Yeah.
So it wasn't ideal. So 1 win and 2 losses at the end of day 1 for me. And,
At least
could be
one of
worse.
us having a great time.
So we had a nice balance across.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Liam, your game number 4, I will
Yeah.
add to the screen right now. Here we go.
So I was here. I was up against Matthew Clayton, who's a bit of a tournament regular. He'd toned his list down from normal GT, but it still included a Chaos Dragon, big unit of warriors with a couple of characters in, level 4 and an Exalted, 6 Dragon Ogres, and that was it.
So he's dropped a few warriors for some extra Dragon Ogres from the last GT when his warriors got terror charged off the board at turn 1.
Yeah. We did discuss that a little bit. And that warrior brick wasn't particularly great in this game either. So we were playing trying to control, is it? We capture the effective tower in the middle. Matt's a much better player in terms of understanding what dragons can and can't do, and understands that if you just park it near a bunch of little units that aren't great but have frenzy, they still have to charge it, and it gets to fight combats in my turns as well as his turns.
Yeah, and then it gets to overrun after those combats in your turn.
Yeah, it's just a reform as well. Like you charge it in with 5 Marauder Berserkers, and you just kill them 90-degree turn, charge what I want next turn. So, but I've only got one picture than this one, which was just a start of game challenge, where my Huskarl champion killed his Chaos Warrior champion. No more pictures in front, I'm afraid. But the Chaos Spawn on turn 2 was in a position where he wanted to charge with his Chaos Warrior block, and we wanted to swing the right-hand side of the unit as he looks at it around into it, but the building prevented it. So he ended up having to charge into the left-hand side of his unit where the Sorcerer Lord was, and a disordered charge. Over 2 rounds of combat, my Spawn got his level 4, and then by act I'd killed the Dragon Ogres with my unit Herskulls on the right-hand flank, and then I accidentally left the unit of Marauder Berserkers, who in this only have additional hand weapons, not the flails, which are a much better option, but we'll come on to that in a bit. Within 11 inches of the Chaos Warrior block. Obviously didn't want to charge up block, but they went into the flank, rolled quite well, and they went Warband to avoid your charge, and double sixed it, so in they went. But they actually outdid themselves and killed 3 of the Chaos Warriors in the flank. The Spawn also had a good round, doing a couple of wounds to his Exalted champion and stomping on maybe 5 more dudes. I won the combat by about 2, I think, from the end of that, and they broke, and I ran them down.
Nice.
And load of points. Meanwhile, on my left-hand flank, the Dragon Ogres and Dragon were running havoc. I think I couldn't control this dragon nearly as much due to Mark of Nurgle instead of Mark of Gorn. But by the end of the game, it had kind of killed my general's unit, moved through the middle of my army, had a turn of flying quickly towards me, managed to bait in the unit Herskulls, so it got them as well. And then in the last turn, or turn 5, it charged my unit of Marauder Cavalry, my big block, my Sorcerer Bunker, who had ejected return earlier and gatewayed well away from the dragon. But what it did mean is that I chose to flee the charge, and I didn't roll Swift Stride to try and keep them on the board, because anything about 11 or 12 would have taken them off the board. Only rolled a 5, and so he caught the unit, got the banner, and then his final turn was able to run back and contest the objective. And at the end of the game, I'd won by about 35 points. So draw overall. So if I'd accepted the loss of that Marauder banner, I might have gone off the board. He'd have not got the banner points, and he'd have fled further and not got back close enough to the central objective on turn 6.
Yeah, because you have to capture the banners in combat, don't you, to get the points for them? Yeah.
So the banner alone wouldn't have been enough to change it. But
No.
if he'd flown further, he wouldn't have been able to fly back to the objective.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have snuck that one, but it wasn't to be. I think towards the end of the game, one of my unit of skin wolves and Marauders like berserkers managed to kill the other dragon ogres as well.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of that game, there was just one Chaos Dragon left on the board, and a lot of my little units running away trying to hide. As is normal.
Which you would do from a dragon, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so again, really good game. Really nice army, and draw in the end was probably a fair result.
Good, you sound like you've just watched Forest and Arsenal.
Nah.
Right, so obviously after my great showing in day one, great 3 losses, then accidentally getting drunk, let's say I was a bit tender on the Sunday morning. So thankfully, I will zoom in. I played this chap called Alex, who's actually commented on our first episode as well. Very, very lovely guy. We had quite a good bonding session because we're into a lot of we've got a lot of things in common, which was quite good. So that we mainly chatted through most of this. I obviously played a bit of Warhammer as well. Now this army is stunning. By his own admission, he's not finished it yet, but it still looks stunning anyway. The reason why this list is very, very unique out of all of the lists in the Throne of Skulls, I don't think I mentioned this to you guys either. So Alex basically went with all mundane weapons. There was no magic items.
Yeah, so I remember seeing this.
Yeah, nothing. No virtues, nothing in this list. It was just quite literally medieval fantasy. There was no. I mean, the only thing that was probably less medieval was the Pegasus. Yeah, it was amazing. But theme of the weekend, that wasn't quite enough. So it turns out you don't need to tell your list up to play me. You beat me anyway. So yeah, this was a great. Again, though, he had blocks, and so he had 2 units of 10 blocks and knights. I want to say 2 units of 36 each, bowmen and men at arms. Pegasus Knight, Peg Lord, and then a Trebuchet, which people say they're rubbish. I'll tell you what this one does in a minute. And then a level 2 down in the bottom corner there. He actually missed the point that he meant to put it in the unit, so I let him go back and put it in the unit, which was fine. It didn't make a difference to me. Essentially, if you can just own a unit of the actual what they call the squires, so the scouting bowmen, they're just in the woods there. Yeah, so we rather than using a knight on a horse, he thought, do you know what? The squires will be wanting to impress their lieges, so I issued a challenge and he accepted with the champion. So everything's got full command, everything in it, which you probably wouldn't take on most of the stuff. All had banners, all had everything, which is great for this because as we all know, the peasant banners don't count for points in this game. So it's just completely aesthetic and the +1 combat res, right? So I won the challenge. Didn't really matter because he was going to pray anyway. I know there is a rule in it about they can't pray if they lose the battle, lose the challenge, right, Liam? Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I let him pray anyway because yeah, it was fine. He didn't play that often, I don't believe, or he's had a few games, so he knew relatively what he was doing, which was fine, which was good. So yeah, essentially, I charged in at those scouts, killed the scouts, got counter-charged by a Pegasus Knight and some knights. Died horribly. Everything basically charged straight forward in a line. My dogs got shot to death because they had the burning braziers as well, which means I think I'm
You fear them.
I fear them straight away. Yeah, so they died. The skin wolves. Now this was stupid. I had all the tools to do the job. I killed one knight out of that block over there, and they killed all of my skin wolves. I was like, what the hell is going on here? So that flank just completely disintegrated. So I was left with a block of marauders, which in the end actually went and hid behind that block. Not before that damn trebuchet. See where my chariots are there? Direct hit on the chariot and killed it. Because obviously it's D3+1, I think it is. And it's like strength 10 minus lots, the trebuchet. So direct hit, killed that chariot. So I was like, oh, great. This is not supposed to be doing this. The trebuchet is rubbish. It doesn't work like that. But it did. So ran straight forward, kind of just hid behind the line of sight blocking terrain thing. But obviously he can still shoot because he doesn't need line of sight. So he did it again. Rolled the direct hit, but obviously it scatters because he couldn't see me. But he only scattered like an inch, 2 inches, I think it was. So it hit most of my stuff again, which is when Jack, you used the app, didn't he? Yeah. And it killed like eight guys out of that block. I was like, for God's sake.
Yeah, like his partials, he had like 15 partials. Rolled all of them. I think he missed one partial.
Alex's dice were insane. And he had a nice little it was the actual mag tray for his army, but it worked as a great dice tray. So we roll in there and just everything just seemed to come up Millhouse. So I was like, oh, great. This is how it's gonna go. Managed to kill one of those unkillable blocks of peasants though, with the Lord and one of the other chariots. I don't think I killed much else.
Your first charge.
Yeah. Oh, and then in the end, the Lord and the Pegasus Lord were in a challenge and just kept bouncing off each other. But yeah, I come foul to shooting again. I got shot to hell and trebucheted. So yeah, it was an amazing game. I'm not gonna lie. I've took a video of like a run as well of Alex's army. It looks so nice set up, and he even deployed it historically as well. Knights on the flank, archers and dudes in the middle. Let's go. And yeah, so that was another loss for me. So I'm on 0-4 and recovering from a hangover at this point. But hey, I'm having fun. But
that's what's important.
Yeah, I did actually give Alex the game vote and the favorite game vote as well because I love the army. I love how it did it, and I mean, he had the gonads to go. I'm not taking anything. I'm just going full whatever it is on the battle scroll on the army world builder thing, and that's it. Done. Like, yeah, fair play, and it worked. So can't complain. So yeah, that was my game 4. Jack, you forgot to take pictures again, haven't you? Oh no,
I got a picture on this one.
You've got something, right? Let's get you up then. Is it a picture of your models though?
No, there's one of his as well.
Okay.
So this is at the point where I basically became very interested in having super thematic challenges with my Demon Prince to see what he could kill and what he couldn't kill. So I came up against Jason and his Beastmen.
I get the feeling there's going to be a really long list in one of those columns and a really short list in the other column.
You won't be surprised. So Jason had this Doom Bull that you can see standing up from my Demon Prince, who had the Ogre Blade, Talisman of Protection, and Gnarled Hide. He had a level 4 with Hag Tree Fetish, a couple of Power Scrolls. He had a level 2 with Vile Tide, the Jagged Dagger, so you could kill a gore here to get a bit of extra plus. So 2 Vile Tides, so I was a bit worried about that. He had a Wargore with a Wargore BSB with a War Banner on a chariot. with some magic items. He had a big unit gore, a couple of Tusco chariots, a little Razor gore, 4 Dragon Ogres, and a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, who was tooled up to the 9s as well. So this sort of tower you can see is the center of our board that we were competing for. So he basically, I was on the opposite side of the table from here, and basically set up my Forsaken in that gap between the hill and the tower, with the Demon Prince just to the sort of right of them from where we're looking now. I had my giants sort of on the other side of the tower, and some chariots and stuff. So I basically said, I'd be interested to see how these Forsaken stand up against this block of 4 Dragon Ogres. So you plunk them directly in front of them. I went, okay, let's see. So Jason got first turn. Yeah. So Jason got first turn, moved his gore with both the shamans in, basically behind this tower, with both the shamans just peeking out around the edge to throw some battle tides at me. So he got my giant down to 1 wound, or took a wound off, one or the other. Got him down to 1 wound. He was basically stood on the hill, actually. He was stood on the hill. So he is down to 1 wound straight away. The level 2 had a go, jabbed one of his gore friends, but failed to cast. So I was like, whew. He tried to get Wind Blast off, failed, and I managed to dispel that. So the giant survived for 1 wound. And he basically moved his Dragon Ogres up to in line with the tower. So his level 4 and gore were just behind them, just peeking around that corner. So I charged with my Forsaken, and I charged with the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince just sort of clicked on the corner, clicked on the corner next to the tower, and the Forsaken sort of the full with the Dragon Ogres. And I won combat. And I broke the Dragon Ogres, or killed them outright, pretty much. And so I got an overrun, and Bellicor ran straight into the level 4 in this unit of gore. So I was quite happy about that.
Yeah, I'm assuming he had the hag treat fetish and everything else.
Yes, he did. So that was now locked into combat for his turn. And the giant on the hill had charged into the BSB on the chariot. He, with 1 room remaining, and very quickly got chopped up. And then we got the timber roll, and I rolled high and Jason rolled low, and I rolled 6 on my d6 and squished the chariot outright.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun.
That makes it make sense though, because the chariot's surely not quick enough to get out of the way of a falling giant, right?
So that was quite fun. So basically, I'd basically taken out this flank. The other side, I think my Chimera was basically my Chimera flying around the other side of the tower to threaten the gore and the wizards on the other side, just in case I needed him on the next turn. And he basically got butchered by this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, whose axe you can see just sticking out the corner of the screen. This here is after I'd basically killed. The next turn, I basically killed the wizard, and the gore broke there, and I overran into this very dangerous spot here, and with a Doom Bull stood there, and he charged me, and I swung first, and I got him down to 2 wounds. And then he swung at me with, he had like 7 or 8 attacks, and he swung at me and just absolutely obliterated me. Like, absolutely obliterated me. Like, even with my 4-up ward save, he got like 6 wounds through, and I was like, oh my god. And I just disintegrated to dust.
Because they've only got 4 wounds, haven't they, the Demon Prince?
Yeah, 4 wounds.
That's the thing, yeah.
So I just disappeared. But I managed to then, you can just see a chariot under my wing. Chariot base under my wing.
Yeah.
So the next turn, I basically threw the chariot into him, and just ran through with impact hits and killed the Boom Bull. So the game basically ended with Jason having that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth there. You can see my wizard just peeking around the tower. He was just blasting spells at him, and he was picking off 1 or 2 wounds a turn. I just ran out of time to sort of get the last wound or two off him. So we both challenged for the central piece, but I basically killed the rest of his army, and he'd killed my Demon Prince and I think that was and my Chimera, and I think that was about it. So it went really well. Coming out of this game, I was on 2-2.
All good.
And once again, I failed to turn anyone into a frog.
Worth the points then, yeah. I mean, to be fair, the one you want to turn into a frog would have probably been Elise out of all the options right now, right?
Yeah, that was fun because I think the very first time with Elise, she rolled a double and I dispelled and did a wound to me. I was like, oh no.
No.
Right, Liam, your fifth and final.
Yeah.
Grab it up. Here we go.
So this is.
Oh, yeah, I know you played. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually a Empire themed, Skaven themed Empire army.
It is so nice, so well converted.
Yeah, John's army was lovely. It actually
my good
picked
friend
up
John.
Third in the player voted painting.
Mm-hmm.
So well done, John, for that.
Yeah, very much so.
You can see I basically set up in such a way where I span the entire table, give or take. You can see in the middle we've got a challenge going on as per normal.
Yep.
My Huskar champion against one of his knights, which my Huskar champion again became victorious. So you see the knights, yeah.
Well, it's a doing player, aren't they? Are they doing players? Doing player,
yeah. And then my favourite photo of the weekend was after my turn 1 movement phase.
Jesus Christ.
And it's just kind of a rush again. The units of Huskar Murder Berserkers here are in ambush. We're not in the impassable terrain. I just needed to put them somewhere where I wouldn't forget to actually roll for them at the start of turn 2. This was definitely a game of two halves, where in the first 3 turns, everything I did went really, really well, and everything John did went really, really poorly. I think he had level 4 wizard, and I think he successfully cast 2 spells in those first 3 turns, and I dispelled both.
He'd have loved that as well, right?
I know, but his cannon in the first turn did take 4 wounds off my giant spawn, and his Hellblast, and then he failed to kill it with everything else. So it was one of them, did well partly and then not with others. And then
just disappeared.
And when I think about into John's turn 3 with me going first, the entire game flipped, and everything I tried to do went poorly, and John couldn't fail an armor save. So I think the war wagon, which is over on this right hand side over here, got into my spawn in John's turn 3. My spawn was still alive. It's healed a wound or 2 from fighting rubbish. And I think by the end of the game, I had done 12 wounds to that war wagon with an engineer on top, and it hadn't actually taken a wound. Between armor and ward saves, it was not going anywhere.
I was going to say, did he put it was an engineer BSB on it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The Empire General with an Ogre Blade got into my general and her unit.
Yeah.
We had obviously the heroic challenge, the way it should be done.
Yeah.
And John did 1 wound to me, and I did 1 wound to him. So it was like just anything. And while still my Huskars had gotten into his knights and killed those. The Demigryphs had charged through into the skin walls here. We kind of flopped at each other for a few turns, and then the unit.
What was he using as the Demigryphs, Liam? Sorry.
It's the Skaven leader on Claw, whatever it is from the new.
Oh yeah, on the big beastie claw thing. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Can't remember seeing them. That's all.
And basically, this unit of Marauder Tribe Berserkers here got into the flank of the Demigryphs, which gave them lots of combat resolution by killing those, which meant my skin walls broke. Both units' skin walls ran off from various things, and one of them rallied at the end of the game and one didn't. This big unit of halberdiers did not a lot all game, bar fighting off this unit of skin wolves. I got battle lust, and I walked for +1 attack with this unit going into them, thinking if I get all 4 in, it'll be like 20 attacks, rerolling in the first turn, wounding on 3s, and then got a 6-up save. I only got 3 in, and then John passed a bunch of 6+ armor saves, so I lost combat by 1 and ran away. But by the end of the game, we were both laughing our heads off, and I think we called it a draw towards the end of turn 5. And yeah, it was very close. John was maybe slightly more up, but we were both doing stuff towards the end where it didn't make sense, but it was funny. So the draw
John's that
was
type
fair
of
result.
person you do that with as well, isn't he? He's quite like that. He's a good laugh. Yeah,
he's mellowed out quite a lot.
Yeah. I know. When I first started running the club, he's just coming back to everybody, and we're like, cool. And then I think he did kind of realize, like, oh, maybe I should just turn it down a little bit and have a bit more fun. And then
he's made a real conscious effort, and the army was outstanding. So
it was brilliant. Yeah, it
got
really,
one of
really
my,
nice.
Yeah, he got obviously a painting and fate and sports vote from myself. So yeah, well done, John.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, me. Could I turn it round? Could I get a win? Not looking at this. So I actually played Matt from Sprues and Brews, another YouTube / I don't do. I think they do YouTube, don't they? Yeah, they do. They do review copies and stuff like that. Lovely bloke. And he had the Troll Horde, which I've obviously got the book and never really seen it on the board. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of wounds, and it is a lot of wounds. So the Troll Horde, if people don't know, you get to reroll essentially regen saves against anything that isn't magical attacks. Guess what didn't have a magical attack in this entire army apart from one guy? Yeah. So he was pretty much rerolling everything. And then obviously you get the Troll Hags as well, which also have big smarts, which lets you reroll the stupidity checks for the army within a radius. So I actually had to come and ask you about this, didn't I, Liam? Because we didn't know how to do the challenge because he doesn't have anyone that could accept it. So it doesn't happen, which is when I obviously come running over to your table. I'm like, what happens here, Liam? What do we do? He's like, oh yeah, it doesn't happen. Like, cool, sound. I rolled a 1, and Matt rolled a 1, but he'd set up before me, so he went first. And quite literally ran everything up. Just marched everything apart from the hags, which could cast spells. So he threw fireballs. So the template there in the middle, that's Pillar of Fire, which spent 2 turns going through my marauders because I couldn't dispel it. So there was, by the time, so if that picture there, because I just ran everything up, everything was in range to charge for the skin wolves and the dogs and stuff like that. So we had 2 single, I think they're just called normal trolls on either flank. So we're in combat with the Hurskals and the dogs. That troll up there on the right side survived the entire game on 1 wound and nearly killed my lord. Somehow. Don't know how it happened. It just happened. The other troll on the other flank didn't get so lucky. He just got run down by the Hurskals. And I actually tested her strength. I didn't want to go into the troll hag because she just hugged me to death. So I didn't do that. So we stopped there. I took 2 wounds off the giant in the middle where there was 3 skin wolves. Now there's only 1 because he pummeled. He managed to roll. So I think that was after the first round. Yeah. So he rolled these hit with clubs. So it's D6 +1, strength 7 minus lots. So killed 2 of them outright. But then I actually only gave ground I think I rolled a 3 for my leadership, which was fine. So like, cool, we'll do that with a reroll as well. The Hurskals there on the left, they got hit by a fireball. The first fireball, I think Matt rolled really low. He only got like 5 hits, but 3 of them wounded and killed 3 of them. So I was like, for God's sake, my weekend in a nutshell. And I don't know if you can quite tell, but the Chaos Lord, first roll of the game, stupid, re-rolled, stupid. Right, stupid trolls babysitted by a stupid Chaos Lord, which was fun. But no, it was a good laugh. This was a grind because just to try and get through all of them, I just kept charging.
Yeah, nobody is.
Everything's got great weapons, so I actually did well with armor saves in this game, to be quite honest. And it was probably the only game of the weekend where the Lord was seriously threatened by stuff because everything wounded him on 2s. But I did quite well with saves and ward saves and regen saves. It was a bloodbath on my part. I think I managed to kill. So that there on the left-hand side with the Fell Rider, not Fell Riders. That's what the Dark Oath things are.
Marauder Horseman.
The Marauder Horseman, or the Hurskals, sorry. I tested restrained, and then charged the River Trolls. I wounded with, I think, 4 of them. Got all 4 through on regen. Fine, killed the troll. But then the last 2 trolls butchered that entire unit. So I could get
great weapons,
but I had no unit there to win the combat res with.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem with a troll army. So if you can stand there, you will probably beat it just on combat res because of the amount of regens they have. Because they have no armor, they just have regens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, even the stuff that come on, obviously with the Chaos Marauder Horseman coming on, they had to charge into the trolls, and they literally bounced off and died horribly. I did manage to kill. I managed to kill 1 unit of stone trolls, half a unit of another, 1 of the trolls, and then this the back unit of river trolls managed to run across the board with stupidity. So it was last turn, 4 inches off the edge of the board. I was like, cool, I might get some points here. He rolled a 3. They were just stood on the edge of the board, like, oh, for God's sake. So yeah, it was a bloodbath, but it was fun. And to be honest with you, playing something like the Troll Horde, I don't know why it wasn't placed higher unless he had really bad draws with the games, because it's so tough. Like, just to try and get through, because if you don't kill them, they just kill you. Because they're like 3 attacks each with strength
with great
7 weapons.
Yeah,
they just absolutely butcher you. So I think even at that point, a dragon's thinking about, might not kill these stone trolls, because unless I'm hitting them with a magic weapon, they're getting all rerolls of their ward saves. Not ward saves, sorry, the regens. And then there's like 12 attacks coming out of each unit. Granted, they're only weapon skill 3, but when there's 12 attacks at strength 7, it can do a bit of damage. So in this game, I actually only ended up with I had the Lord left on a wound, which the normal troll nearly killed. So I was like, great. And I think a random unit of Marauder Berserkers that didn't show up until turn 5. So yeah. So I took a beating all weekend, but a fun beating. Slanesh style. So yeah, it teaches me, done it, to a subpar list to a fun event, but it turns out fun lists seem to be quite powerful too. Or I'm just really bad at rolling dice. Or don't have a wizard.
Yeah, maybe a mix of.
I think any of those could be true.
Yeah, or all of them.
Yeah.
At the same time. Or I'm just a very bad player, which could also be true. Probably is true. Who knows? So yeah, that was my weekend. In game terms, yeah. So finished on 5-0 the other way. So I was actually the only person to lose all 5 games as well, which is an achievement.
But you did it with a smile. You did it with a smile.
I got some nice game votes, which was nice.
Yeah.
So, Jack, have you got a photo? Or
I've got a photo going into
Hey.
my last game. So I was looking here to finish on a positive.
Nice flash on that camera, mate.
Yeah. Well, I was in a dodgy lighting bit, so it was a bit dark if I didn't use the flash. So I was up against Robin and his dwarves. So it was quite a nice list. He had a block of Slayers with a Demon Slayer and a couple of other characters in there, a Doomseeker roaming around, a couple of Gyros, a big block of Thunderers that had Burlock in there, a medium-sized block of Dwarf Warriors with a Runesmith in, and a cannon and an organ gun and some rangers.
Nice.
So this was the first game of the weekend that I rolled the Fly 12 spell for infantry. I went first. So I'm on my side of the table taking this picture, and my Forsaken basically got to the turn 1.
Literally.
They went forward 24 inches and sat in front of his Dwarf Warriors and the organ gun, because I didn't fancy more than one turn of getting hit by the organ gun. And the rest of my army pretty much followed up behind and was just as close. At this point, we were having good fun, we were having a good laugh, and I basically looked at his block of Slayers and I set up my monsters in front of the block of Slayers and went, okay, let's play some.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah. Forsaken flew up, so the Rangers were just off the left of the picture here. The Thunderers were on the hill. Warriors were in front of me. Slayers just to the right, and the Gyros were just floating around. So these guys went up, and then they went to Robin's first turn, and he, like, at this point I was like, oh, this is going to be rough. I feel quite bad for Robin. Like, I'm literally like in his lines already. Then he got his turn of shooting, and there was 5 Forsaken left out of 23 at the end of his
Jesus
shooting. Christ. He'd nearly killed a chariot. I think he'd killed my Chimera. It was rough. I was like, oh my god.
Apparently, dwarf players can roll dice.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, holy Jesus, this is not what I was anticipating going to my turn 2. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, let's do it. So I charged. I went to charge a chariot into the Slayers. I don't think the giant quite reached just yet, or he failed his charge. I was like, okay, Bellicor could see the flank of them, so I was like, Bellicor go to the flank, put a chariot into the front. I'll run through them. Chariot went in, did 1 impact hit, failed to wound. Bellicor got challenged out by the Demon Slayer here. Failed to wound.
Did he demon slay him though?
I failed to wound. He did 4 wounds, 3 of which were killing blow. And the sad thing is I passed 2 out of 3 of the ward saves. He still
kept clinging on.
Yeah, but he still just died to killing blow. So I was like, okay, cool.
They always wound him on a 4+ as well, right?
Yeah, always 4 and 4+. But yeah, just threw 3 6s out of 4 wounds, and
there you go, Bellicor.
Poor Bellicor is a monstrous infantry, so he did not enjoy that.
So he was on chariot.
Yeah. So he was dead. The Forsaken died to some Dwarf Warriors. The chariot died to the Slayers. The Chimera died to shooting. I think that chariot was left, and I had my Sorcerer chariot basically on my other flank, and so I had 2 chariots left basically at the end of turn 2. And I was like, oh no. The chariot, this chariot then tried to charge into either the Rangers or Slayer. The Rangers or Thunderers just got shot and died. So I basically just had my Sorcerer Wizard Lord on the right flank. So he went into a cannon, killed the cannon. He then overran into the block of 16 Dwarf Warriors and killed them, broke them, and chased them down, which basically left him sort of around here. I think it was still about 5 inches in front of the Thunderers. they made the smart decision to move 3 inches forward so I wouldn't get any impact hits. I charged them anyway. Won the combat. They gave ground. So again, he wasn't getting any. I couldn't get my impact hits again. So I'll charged again, beat them again. He managed to pass his break test again. And then basically last turn he had his Rangers here. The Thunderers were down now. Like I think I killed. Burlock kept refusing the challenge and jumping to the back of the unit because he was terrified. I'd killed the champion. I'd wiped out like half the Thunderers. So I basically had the option now to charge the Rangers that were here and probably kill them and get some points, or risk it and basically try and take out this dwarf warrior block. So they're the dwarf quarrelers. So of course I went for the quarrelers again, won again. But then he passed on, like he had like a leadership 5 break test and managed to pass it again, and the game pretty much ended there. But again, the giant had charged the Doom Seeker as part of the Slayer Be'lakor chariot combat a bit earlier on. He went in, got like heroic killing blowed by the Doom Seeker or some madness, like with his like 55 attacks or whatever he threw at me, killed me. Timber, of course, I rolled high, he rolled low. Fell on him, squished him. So I not only did I lose my 250 point giant, I also like lost 250 points of his Doom Seeker at the same time.
You don't get any points for him, do you, by killing him?
So it was a double whammy. But no, it was a really fun game. We both gave best sports to each other because it was just a wacky, fun game. Great game to finish off as
they're the best games.
Founded it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great. And it was a fun game. So I finished on 2 wins and 3 losses.
God.
Cool.
So, in terms of that, then, let me put some all full. We're back. In terms of that, then, I massively overachieved. Clearly, the wrong way around. Liam, I think you got what you wanted, didn't you, in terms of results?
Yeah, I wanted 2 or 3 wins. Yeah. Got 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. So can't moan too much about that.
No, Jack, I think you said you'd like to be positive, but you'd been happy with 2, right?
Yeah, given the list that we saw when we were sort of going into it, and a couple of the lists that I've played, I was quite happy coming out with that with 2 wins.
Yeah, good.
I came out with 3 best sports votes as well, so I was happy with that.
Nice, yeah. See, I think I won on that part because I got 4, so. Clearly.
Yeah, I only got 2.
Well, Liam. No, I think on reflection, all around it was never going to be about the game. Obviously, you like to do well, but it was never going to be about the game in any way. I had so much fun just because I took a stupid list, played stupid with it, and I think people reciprocated it, which was nice. So by the sounds that you guys had exactly the same sort of games as well.
Yeah, and I think after our pessimism of the last video, after seeing a lot of lists, it's quite nice to see that the two joint winners of the event both had 2 wins and 3 losses.
Correct.
And came up
they
with 5
best
votes and 5 best painted votes as well. So
the way, isn't it? That's
the Beastman player, Jason.
Well done to the guys as well for doing that, because I think they had some pretty rough draws as well, if I remember right. I think they played very similar, because you played a lot of dragons, Liam.
Yeah, I averaged 1 dragon a game, despite the fact that I played Dwarves and Empire.
Yeah.
So
I played everything I probably didn't want to play against, stuff I can't hit and kill, and shooting. So yeah, that's me. I played everything I shouldn't have done, but hey.
Yeah. My Demon Prince just couldn't have played into anything. So
yeah, I mean that's Demon Prince, isn't it? We were all kind of surprised when you said you was taking a Demon Prince. So that's your own fault, Jeff.
Someone
is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but no, it's a good weekend overall.
It really was, yeah. I mean, I bought an army to do for next year, which is what I'm going to try and do, and I think I did say in the first episode that I'd have loved to have got in the cabinet and stuff, but there were some really nice armies there.
there were.
That's what I'm gonna. That's my next year's goal, unless obviously there's one later on in the year, which would be nice. So please, GW, put one on.
Yeah, I'd love them to put a second one on later in the year.
I think 2 a year would be a nice sweet spot as well. I think for people. I mean, I don't really want to end on a downer, but I think it needs talking about as well the not dropouts, the amount of people that didn't turn up to the event. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I think they
we
said
only had 59 people.
Yeah, out of the
Out
80
of
total
80.
sold.
Yeah, so there's
it's a
15
shame,
people
isn't
that just didn't turn up on the day, and there was like 15
Yeah.
people that returned the ticket the weekend before as well, something like that. So they managed to
Yeah.
get a few spaces filled back in, but yeah.
So Michael, who I played first, I think you. Oh no! Oh yeah, just to mention Dan. Sorry, so Dan was going to come on, but he's been a bit busy. He had a good time, and he also got drunk with me on Saturday, which was good because we did have a bit of a wobble before. We nearly didn't make it. Actually, in fact, I'll go into that story now. So we nearly didn't make it. He had a bit of a wobble. He had a busy day at work the week prior to front of schools. We played a game. I think it kind of blew his mind how much he didn't know. So he had a bit of wobble saying, "Oh, I don't think I'm going to come. I just don't think I'll enjoy it because I didn't know how to play." Right, look, I think I messaged you and Liam, and we said, "Oh, let's try and talk him around." So we did. So he's like, "Yeah, oh, cool, I'm coming." Got into it, got all his painting stuff done, all ready to go. The Friday when he was at work, his car decided to blow up. So I was like, "Liam, I don't think I'm making it." We don't have any transport. We did. We'd have got the train, obviously, but yeah. So we'd had a bit of a rough week. So in the end, we did end up getting his wife's car. But no, I think
had a good time.
Yeah, just going to finish on that. He said it was one of the best weekends he's had because he was glad he went because there was a lot of people. Like we both said as well, there'll be a lot of people in that same situation. Maybe not minus the car blowing up and stuff like that, but
yeah,
and I think he was glad about it. So yeah, I'll say cool. And he did quite well. He actually won 2 games as well. So and he took 2 kings.
More than same amount as most of us managed, or some of us managed.
That don't matter. It don't matter to me. But yeah, no, he did well and he enjoyed himself. So yeah. And then on to the ticket thing. So Michael, who I played first, and Dan played as well. He actually said when he turned up, like, "Oh, have we got the wrong day? Because there's no one waiting outside." There's like 3 people there, and when he actually went over to queue up, one of the guys that actually was at the event, he didn't say who it was supposed to be coming with his 2 friends, and he was giving 2 tickets away for anyone who wanted to come. So I was like, wow, that's because there was £70 a pop, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of money now for an event, and I was shocked. I felt sorry for the guys running it as well, because they obviously got everything ready and sorted out, and then I think they were sat waiting an extra 5 minutes as well in the abundance to get people registered.
But to be fair, like, it's an expensive event, but it's one of the nicest venues. The food I thought was more than decent, really nice on both days.
I always enjoy it as well because you get access to the exhibition as well.
Yeah,
and it's Warhammer World. So.
Yeah, I buy a ticket for an event later on this year, no questions asked.
Absolutely, yeah. And to be honest with you, I don't. And maybe this is the reason why. So the GT's in a couple of weeks as well. A couple of months.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be. I know obviously it's a bit more open comp, but they're probably going to be very similar lists, maybe with an extra 2 items or so. No, I mean like the higher end, the bigger ones, obviously.
Yeah. Well, no, because I don't think it's limited to the 500 points and 1 level 4, though, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it'd be horrific, but there'll still be very similar lists.
Yeah. I mean, on that point, I think that, like, I said this elsewhere, but I could have easily have taken a more tournament. Like, I could have not made the concessions I made. I could have easily taken Battle Magic, taken flails on units that had and that kind of thing. And I don't think it would have actually impacted my soft scores, but it would have positively impacted my gaming scores.
And I think that's a good thing on a personal level, isn't it? Because obviously, I've known you a while, and I'm sure Jack has. We all know everyone's a good, a nice person, which we all are. I'd like to think we're all nice people. Obviously, I'm nice because I've got more game votes, but but yeah, and we can all build and paint nicely. So, like, I know, Jack, you always say yours isn't painted as good, but your conversions are really good as well. So, you know, there's always that side to it, which I think we do well as a 3 anyway, definitely. Yeah, I think I don't know if I'd like a GT though, because I don't necessarily like playing competitive. I like being around it. I don't have the mind capacity to do it to the point where I enjoy it, if that makes sense.
It's definitely a different mindset.
Yeah,
that's to discuss in a future episode, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe. But yeah, congratulations to the winners as well of all the awards, the guys that are nominated for the painting, because there was some really nice armies, and obviously the guys that won the awards as well. And they've got new trophies now as well. I'll try and flick a picture up on the trophies. I did take a photo of them, and they're really, really nice. Actual shields, aren't they? The big, nice shields.
And they had best in race trophies as well, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that'd have been nice. Yeah. Oh, it was nice. The medals, wasn't it?
A little bit of medallions,
yeah. It was just that was pure gaming, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then,
pure gaming. Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
I'll show you some because I do actually win events. I am good at things, you see. just to show them off. Oh, clanging.
as well.
Okay, well, I've got a nice. My GT trophy from last year.
Hold on a minute. Let me find something else.
Nah,
I've got a wooden spoon.
It doesn't count.
You can't have that anymore.
Yeah, no, that was actually 40k as well. So we're not putting that on here. No, anything else, guys? Anything you want to cover?
No, I think on that, we all had a great weekend, and we push on for the next one.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll just finish then with, obviously, thank you for everyone for watching and listening along. If you have anything that you want us to cover, any topics, anything you want us to cover at all, just drop it in the comments below, and we'll try and get through to it. We've not really set a timescale for when we're doing these next ones, are we? But I'm sure we'll have episode 3 soon.
We've been through our free trial, so
we're all busy chaps with us lives and everything else. Warhammer.
The rough plan was going to be every couple of weeks, wasn't it?
That's the plan. Kind of.
So we might hit a more regular pattern now.
Yeah. Which will be nice. It's weird. Do you know? I don't know if you guys have done this. Have you listened to the first one back?
No, I hate listening to myself speak.
Mate, it's weird, isn't it? It honestly is. Like I was like, obviously I edited the videos, also I had to listen to it all, but it's quite weirdly therapeutic. You say your voice is weird, but I quite like listening to my own voice.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
I know.
You're out next week.
Cool. Right. Let's leave it there, shall we?
Let's leave it there. Thank you, guys. Good to chat and see you all. And we'll see you in episode 3 soon.
Yeah. Catch you
later.
See you later, guys. Thank you.